What's up guys, Brad here from Piney Grove Homestead, and today's video is not going to be about mowing, but I got to fuel up the mowers so that Deb can mow today. Our Kubota mower is diesel and our Yakta mower is gas. So I came over here to our little diesel station to fill this up first before I get going with today's video. So we've got this transfer tank from Vevor and it just makes life so much easier. I would say for the money, it is probably the best investment that you can make if you use a lot of fuel. And I'm a little bit worried about trying to use one of these tanks for gas, but for diesel, because it has a lower flash point or it's less volatile, I'm willing to do it for that. I don't know if I'm going to get a gas tank, but we go through a lot of diesel. Got a question the other day, how much diesel do we go through? And I would say we go through about 40 gallons a month out here between this zero-turn mower, the excavator, the tractors, and the mini skid steer. All of those are diesel. So a couple videos ago, I introduced our first two animals on Piney Grove, and they're not real animals. They are fake statues, aluminum deer statues we got from a local person that brings them down here to the area like once every couple months or so. And I got an 8-point whitetail buck and also a doe. And they're sitting out there prominently, but we got a new addition yesterday. So I'd like to introduce you to Piney Grove Pete. He's a 6-foot rooster from Tractor Supply. We had to go all over North Florida to find one in stock. It's the end of the season and they were having a sale. And we called all the local ones that were within like 10, 15, 30 minutes. And we actually had to drive over an hour to get it, but we were happy to find it. And we've got them staked down overlooking the pond here at Piney Grove. And Bella is probably snake hunting. I think Bella has killed 7 black racer snakes this year. And that's not something we encourage. She's a bird dog and she's got a lot of hunter instinct in her. And we try to stop her, but she's so quick and she's so vicious with them. We're hoping she never encounters a moccasin, or what we have around here are pygmy rattlers, because that might be a different outcome if she gets a hold of one of them. So we're trying to train her not to mess with snakes, but she got skunked a few weeks ago. So she probably would go after a skunk tomorrow if one was in front of her. So a week or so ago, we started our plants for our fall garden. We got tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, radish, rutabaga, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, and that's our whole garden right there. There's a couple hundred or at least 100 plants there, not to mention what we'll plant by seed. And as part of growing, especially here in Florida where our soil tends to be real sandy, doesn't have a lot of nutrients, we're getting into composting. So I did a composting video with a compost bin that I got from Vigo Gardens. And we're affiliated with them, so there's a link down below and also a discount code if you're interested in any of their products. But what I found is even with a well-designed compost bin, there's still some manual things you have to do. So if you're familiar with compost, then you need browns, which are your carbons, which could be sticks, they could be sawdust, they could be wood chips, and a lot of people use cardboard. And then you have your greenery, which is your nitrogen, which would be your kitchen scraps or maybe your leaves or something that's left over from your garden, maybe some watermelon rinds or something like that. And then you need oxygen. So we're going to address two things with this video with some products that I bought personally from Amazon. And number one, and it seems odd, is this shredder right here. So this is a bonsai paper shredder, the C149C. We bought it because we were reducing a lot of our paper and needed to shred bulk paper in our move here out to the farm. Well, I read online through a Reddit forum that people were using this to make compost by mulching up or shredding up thick pieces of cardboard. I think we paid $150 or so for this, and it says that it can do up to 18 sheets maximum. It's got a pretty decent sized compartment. You can see where he shredded up some bills in there. But we were curious with how it could handle thicker cardboard. So this is a cardboard packing material. That's kind of thin cardboard. But we'll run some cardboard through it and show you what it looks like. So the intake on this is not very wide, so this will fit in there, but just barely. Most of the time it'll pull it in. And a lot of times if I can do it quickly, I'll pull off any of the tape or anything, the packing tape that's on here, and just kind of reduce the microplastics that are going into my compost. But it's as easy as this for a fairly large piece of cardboard. Now that's a little wide for it, but you can see it's pulling it right in. And this is what it creates. It just chops up that cardboard into real fine little pieces. And what we found with compost is the smaller the pieces, the quicker that it breaks down. So the reason I'm making this video is because I don't think a lot of people know that things like this exist out there. And a lot of people just use cardboard like this in its, you know, however way it came, and maybe they'll rip it up a little bit. But it's better if you can go ahead and shred it and get it in as small particles as possible. And when the cardboard's too wide to fit in the shredder, I just set up this little station here with a piece of plywood so my knife doesn't go into the table. I make it so it's thin enough or not too wide to fit in the shredder, and then just feed it in. And a lot of shredders you hear about out there have a thermal overload, which this one does as well. But I work out here in 100-degree weather, and I've worked this thing through thick Amazon boxes for 30 minutes or more. I've never had it do a thermal shutdown where it had to cool. And any other shredder that I've had to deal with has done a thermal shutdown. But I'm going to double this up, and you'll see it'll take care of that as well. I've only been shredding for a short period of time, and I've almost got a full bin, and I'll dump that into this box right here until that gets full, and then I'll pull that garbage can out, and I'll have a full garbage can full of compost. But I wanted to show you, this is a thick Vevor box that my plate compactor came in. You can see there how thick that cardboard is as compared to, say, a normal Amazon box. You can see it's about double the thickness of a normal Amazon box. I'm going to take this, and it barely fits in the intake. I'm going to take it and kind of jam it in there. You've got to have a straight edge to do it, and it'll just pull it right in. So look how thick that cardboard is compared to my finger. It's taking up the whole input feed area. You can see our bin's pretty full. No problem at all, not overheating. And I'm not sponsored by these guys at all. I just bought this on Amazon, and I wanted to share it because I think that there's a lot of wasted opportunity out there. We order a lot from Amazon. We get a lot of products from Vevor, and these boxes come in, and typically we throw them away when they make great components for your compost. Now over here I've got bags that I've already shredded. This bag is completely full. This bag has got some shredded on the bottom, and then some packing paper, Amazon packing paper. But this bag here is completely full, and I'll just come in here and refresh my compost pile as needed. So emptying the bin is simple. Give it a little shake so that it settles out. If you overfill it, some of it's going to fall. And then I just put it in here. Start another bin. And I would say to do all this cardboard here, 15-20 minutes. In just a few minutes, we reduced that big pile of cardboard down to almost a box full of this shredded cardboard that we can use for the carbon in our compost bin. And that's real satisfying to me, to take something that was going to go in the landfill, which would have been a big old bag of cardboard, turn it into this cardboard mulch, and then we'll be able to eat vegetables from it this fall. Now let's head over to the garden, and I'll show you another tool that I bought from Amazon to help with this process. All right, here we are at the garden at the compost bin. The garden's pretty much done. I have some late peppers that I started I didn't think would make, but they're doing good. They actually have some peppers on it. We got okra that just won't quit, and then we have these noodle beans that I actually cut off the stems, and they grew up from the stems. I didn't think they'd make it in the summer. We've never grown them ever before, and we figured they'd be a spring or a fall bean. And look at them, they're doing great. Even the tomatoes are flowering, and these tomatoes just popped up where the summer tomatoes were, or the spring tomatoes were. So this is our Vigo garden compost bin, and it hasn't had any odor all summer. And you know, we're in 100 degrees here in Florida, and I was surprised by that, but it's got a little bit of odor today. So yesterday I put in banana peels and lemon. There's an apple peel, corn cob, and some onion scraps. And those were just put in there yesterday. I can't even see the coffee grounds. The coffee grounds, I guess, have already been consumed by, I'll call them worms, but I guess they're really maggots. But that is just, sometimes will just be moving with so many bugs in it. And we don't have a lot of red wigglers or compost worms here, so I'm thinking about buying some worms to put in there for my compost. And you can see the watermelon vines there on the ground that we're letting decompose. That would be green material or nitrogen. But I've filled that up 5 or 6 times. Like, you fill it all the way up to the top, and a few days later it's 6 inches lower. Then you fill it again and it's 6 inches lower. So what's down there in the bottom, I can't help but think is just a bunch of worm casings and really rich soil. But we're going to see, because we're going to use these tools here. So this is the tool I used the other day, and it's a paddle mixer, or just a regular mixer for mortar and concrete. You can see where the corners are worn off, where I've mixed so much concrete with it. It's actually taken some of the metal off here, but it's real heavy duty, and I put it in here. But what I found is that it would burn up my 1/2-inch brushless 20-volt drill. So I brought out my electric drill. I have a Milwaukee 1/2-inch drive, plug-in electric drill, tons of torque. It'll hurt your wrist to use it. And I was taking this and driving it down in the bottom, and it was mixing it and creating holes that were that big. But it was a lot of effort. It required me to bring a corded tool out here, and it didn't really bring things from the bottom up to the top. What it did is it just kind of drilled a hole down, and then I took the holes that it made and filled it full of the cardboard, or I filled it full of these wood chips over here. But there's another thing that's interesting about this Vigo box that I think this new tool that I bought is going to help me with. So what I got was a couple augers, and I got a 2-inch and a 3-inch. I didn't think my drills would turn a 4-inch, but if this 3-inch turns easy, then I'll probably buy a 4-inch as well. And I didn't need them that long to get to the bottom here. So this one, the bigger one, won't go all the way to the bottom, but it's hard to find them where they're one piece. Usually when they're longer, they want a 2-piece this, and to me that would make it weaker. All right, let's try them out. So this one here will fit right inside of the Vigo garden tubes. And those are the oxygen tubes. And what I found is that these worms in here were filling that full of their casings, and I wasn't getting good oxygen flow through the center of my bin. So this should work well to clean that out. And that actually goes down that far. So this one's actually not bad. But I'll auger in and see if I can bring them out. Yep. That goes right down to the dirt that's in the bottom. Now that just works super well at cleaning that out, and you can see all that dark compost at the bottom where everything is breaking down. Let's try this one. Then I just stop the drill and let it stay in the flutes. And I'll clean out that oxygen hole. Now there's a lot of wood chips in there. I really like the length of the 2-inch auger, but I think the 3-inch auger is going to be better for what I want to do, which is mixing this compost. But I can see a good purpose for this. Like if you want to plant your plants in hard ground or something, just go through here and just quickly make holes to put your plants in. Let's try this 2-inch, and we're just going to go in and try and bring some of those worm casings and everything from the bottom, bring them to the top, and just bring more oxygen into this compost bin. What it does is it grabs, and if there's debris in there that, like I have some branches and vines in there, then it kind of twists itself into them. You just got to be careful you don't go down too deep that you can't pull it out. And other than that, there's those vines I was talking about. Other than that, whoa, this is perfect. You can see just that dark compost looking stuff. Oh man, it is tough on the wrist though. I mean, I didn't think this thing would work me that hard, but it'll twist the drill in your hand. I like it though. Yeah, this thing is, I like this one right here. I don't think a 3-inch would be, I think the drill will handle a 3-inch. I don't know that I could. But there's some of that stuff that was brought up from the bottom right there. Now it doesn't leave a hole where it drills. It just kind of brings up stuff from the bottom to the top. And like that right there, pulled my hand right in. So I just reversed the drill. I just went down too far with it. So that's working really good. Minimal effort. Even turn it sideways like this to mix that top. You still see the full lemon halves there, but otherwise you can't see any of the watermelon rinds or the banana peels or anything. They've all broke down. We put the drill on a higher speed and it seems to work it even more. All right, guys, I've been working this thing pretty hard off camera. I think the drill handles this fine. The problem is it comes out of the chuck a lot, and this is a fairly new DeWalt drill, so I don't think it's my chuck. What I think it is that the metal this is made out of, it might be a little soft and it's wearing. So I don't know about longevity, but as far as the concept, I really like it. And what I've been doing is I'll drill down and then I'll just drag my drill sideways and it'll keep mixing from the bottom to the top. And where I found that the compost was the most mature or the most ready was in these corners. Like it was, the drill pulled my hand down right there, but it was like it was almost all worm casings in the corner. So I've been trying to take what's over here, put it over there, and then fill it back with the wood chips and stuff that aren't as decomposed as much. But you definitely got to keep tightening your chuck on this. Seems like it came off right then. It came off a lot more when I was running it at high speed because of a 2-speed drill than at low speed. But like I said, I like the concept. I've just got to figure out how to get it to stay in the drill because I've had to put it back on a bunch of times. But I feel a lot better about this because now there's a lot more air mixed in there. All right, I think that's pretty well mixed up. So I'm going to put in some of that cardboard that we mulched up earlier and show you what it looks like when you're done like putting everything in there. And then you come back every week or so and do what I just did here and mix it. So the ratio is supposed to be like 5 to 1 with 5 parts carbon and 1 part nitrogen. This is a lot hotter in nitrogen. There's a lot more nitrogen in here with kitchen scraps and vines from the garden. Got all that cardboard spread and wet it down a little bit, and you can probably see the cardboard moving in spots as the worms come up here and start working on it. There's also some little black bugs and stuff in there. That's looking really good. Then I also put some of that cardboard we shredded right there and use those augers to mix them up. So all in all, I'm pleased with those products I bought from Amazon. Be sure to check out the links down below. It costs you nothing more to use our links, but it gives us a little bit of percentage for showing the products. And again, we weren't sponsored. We bought all them on our own. But that's going to wrap it up. So until next time, y'all take care out there. And remember, life's short, tractor hard. And I don't know if you can see her, but Deb's already started mowing, so I got to go catch up to her. Take care, guys. Cool top is awesome.